So, what is RAID? RAID is a way to track action items. That's not the bug spray. What we have is a way to track all your risks, your actions, your issues, and decisions. So that's what the RAID stands for: risks, actions, issues, and decisions. And what you want to do is track these items on your project to make sure that nothing gets lost. Anytime there's something that might go wrong, you want to track it as a risk, or if there's something that did go wrong, track it as an issue. Any key decisions, you're going to want to know what those are and track them for the duration of the project, along with any actions that need to be taken care of in some way, assigned to somebody until it's resolved. So the way we track all this right here is on the main project dashboard. But the way you track this is through a single sheet that has a way to enter all that information. So on the dashboard, this is a summary from that sheet. And so let's go to that sheet. The link to that sheet is at the top. There's one called RAID log. So if you go to the RAID log, it has, if it's the first time you've been to it, it has legend at the top, kind of explains what a risk is, and some of the information about each. There's links back to the dashboard and links to the other sheets that you have for the project. But after that, you get to where you track all your action items. Now, on every one of my project calls, I usually have this open. That way, as we're discussing the project, every time there's an action item that comes up on the call, I list it here. And so I would add a new action. And so that new action would be something that needs to be taken care of. I would call it an action. It would be open since it's new. It's not closed. I would give it a priority. If it's super high priority, I would do that. If it's going to have a big impact to the project, I might give it a exclamation. Put more information about it right here. And then once you get the issue resolved, you're going to want to record what your resolution was. So after the action's been closed, if you want to refer back to that action, was it ever taken care of? Well, how was it resolved? You've got that here. Then you may assign that to somebody so that you know who is going to actually take care of that action item. Otherwise, it'll never get done. And then assign a date to it. Often, if there's no date assigned to something, it'll never get done. So give it a date of when it needs to be resolved, assign it to somebody, and it is now tracked. When you hit the save button, it's also going to give you a unique ID number for it so that if you're ever in conversation or in an email or Teams chat, you can say, hey, RAID item number 14. You already know what that is. It's unique. There won't be any duplicates because every time you add one, it gives you a new unique ID. So anyhow, you have your action item here. So besides your action items, you want to try to think ahead on your project and come up with risks. Risks are what might happen on your project. It's not something that already has happened. It's something that might, and you want to plan for that possible case. If it's something that's high priority and has high impact, well, then you probably need to put some effort into having a good mitigation for it. Something that will either prevent the risk from happening or would mitigate the effects of that risk. You want to make sure that somebody owns that risk, to make sure that it either doesn't happen or has minimal impact. If it's something that really has low impact, and is probably not likely to happen, then you may or may not want to put the effort into coming up with a mitigation for that risk. But at least you have it tracked, and it's a known risk. The reason you track risks is to make sure that you don't have unexpected issues on your project. If you can identify them as a risk ahead of time, and you have a way to prevent that from happening or prevent the impact of that from being too severe, then you have a more higher success of project not being derailed by it. So those are risks. Issues, anything that's gone wrong, you want to track it, make sure somebody owns it so it can be fixed or resolved, and put the resolution to it. Everybody knows what an issue is pretty much, but anything that's gone wrong, track it. And then lastly is decision. If you have a decision that needs to be made, um, you want to track it. Maybe you need to decide whether to do one thing versus another. Um, you can track that here. Once the decision's been made, you can close it, but you have the resolution or what the final decision was tracked so that uh, 6 months down the line, 9 months down the line, you wonder why you guys did something on a project. You can refer back to the decision that describes why you did what you did on your project. So, um, on my projects, I use this on every one of my project calls with teams. They can add items through it throughout the week, and then we have our agenda for the call. So anybody on the team can log into this and add more actions, and then on our team call we can assign or address those particular issues and close them. So I can't imagine ever having a project call without this. So I find it extremely useful. So anyhow, that is what a RAID is and how you would use it. Once you get to the dashboard, this will make a little bit more sense. This tracks the number of risks and actions and issues and decisions you've had. This has the number of them that have been closed. And here we have all the open items. So it's only listing the open items, not the ones that are closed. So you can take a quick look and see what's open. One thing I didn't mention was the escalation flag. If there's something that's really important and we need to escalate it, then you can escalate it with the escalation flag. And this comes up here, and we can generate an escalation report so that you can get additional help with the action. So, and that's the last thing to it. So if you have any questions, there's always a help button, and the help button can take you to more information about the entire dashboard.